Some 3 weeks into the season lie a little closer in the standings than some may have guessed. Let's get you out to Flushing for the Nationals and the Mets.
Thank you very much, Matt. It is the second of a three-game series between these division rivals from Citi Field in Flushing, New York. Mets third baseman David Wright knows it is Bark in the Park Day. A free bandana to the first 500 dogs who enter Citi Field. It's the Mets and the Nationals on Fox. Good afternoon, everybody. Kenny Albert along with Hall of Famer Tim McCarver. Thanks so much for joining us. Mets won the series opener last night 7-1 behind Matt Harvey. And, Tim, the Mets have been one of the early surprises in all of baseball.
No surprise in Matt Harvey. He is a real thoroughbred, but the Mets do need some surprises to compete in the National League East, a tough division. John Buck off to a fast start, 20 RBIs already. They need more production out of Ike Davis and Lucas Duda. They got that in last night's game.
And a big surprise, Tim, on the Washington Nationals side. Steven Strasburg suffered his third loss in April last night. But fortunately for Washington, Gio Gonzalez, who led the major leagues with 21 victories last season, he's on the mound today.
The Nationals are a very strong team because they can start every ball game with a guy who could be a #1 starter on most any team, and Gio Gonzalez certainly one of those guys.
Gio Gonzalez, Jeremy Hefner, the pitching matchup. Mets look to make it 2 in a row. Bryce Harper and the Nationals looking for revenge against 6-time All-Star David Wright and the New York Mets. Nationals, Mets coming up next on Fox. Moments away from the Mets and the Nationals on Bark in the Park Day. The first 500 dogs receiving a Mets dog bandana, a pregame dog parade around the water track about 45 minutes ago. The opening pitch of today's game is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. The Washington Nationals come in with a record of 9-7, second place in the NL East. Their batting order brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Denard Span, the center fielder, leads off, followed by right fielder Jason Worth. Bryce Harper bats third. Adam LaRoche in the cleanup spot. Then shortstop Ian Desmond, third baseman Chad Tracy. Bottom of the order, second baseman Danny Espinosa, the catcher Kurt Suzuki. On the mound for the Nationals, batting ninth, Gio Gonzalez. Tim, our forward keys to the game.
For the Nationals, they're going to try to be more consistent. They are 9-7, but they've lost 5 of their last 7, being swept by Atlanta over the weekend in Washington last week. The Mets, they want to take advantage of being at home. My goodness, what a horrible, from a weather standpoint, a 3-game series in Colorado that was just cruel on both teams, but the Mets swept by the Rockies Tuesday and Thursday.
Mets back home where they are 5-2. Mets sent Jeremy Hefner to the mound this afternoon. 27-year-old right-hander out of Oklahoma. Spent 5 years in the San Diego Padres organization. 2 starts and a relief appearance this season. Record of 0-2. In fact, he pitched 1 inning in relief in Denver on Thursday.
1 inning on Thursday, giving up a couple of runs. He debuted 362 days ago. And today, for the most part, for Terry Collins, he's looking for about 5 innings, 5 good, strong innings from Hefner today. And it's almost pitcher by committee for the Mets today.
And Tim, much better conditions here at Citi Field than what the Mets experienced over the last week with their last 2 series in Minneapolis and Denver.
Everybody pitched in. Terry Collins, that's Sandy Alderson, the general manager of the Mets. Dick Monfort, the owner of the Colorado Rockies, also shoveling in. Terry said he's from Michigan, and he left his shovel behind when he moved to Florida. Can't blame him.
He told us Michigan State once canceled a game that he was involved in because it was too cold.
From Midland, Michigan, Terry Collins.
From Washington, D.C., now playing for his hometown team, Denard Span will lead off for the Washington Nationals. He knows all about the weather up in Minnesota after spending 10 years in the Twins organization. The last 5 seasons with the big league club. Span missed some time earlier this week with the stomach flu. Returned last night, went 1 for 4. Nationals had only 4 hits in the game, no extra base hits.
Unusual for this lineup. A very, very potent lineup for Davy Johnson.
A familiar face in these parts.
Oh, yeah. What a run he had in New York from 1984 through 1990, or the middle of 1990.
First pitch to Span, a called strike 1. Davey, of course, led the Mets to the 1986 World Series title. As Tim circles Jeremy Hefner, the Mets starting pitcher today.
Wasn't quick enough. Can't go to my right quickly enough.
Perfect circle around Jeremy. Span, Worth, and Harper for the Nationals here at the top of the first inning, right in on the edge of the grass at third as the Span takes high. Ball 2, now 2-1. Span batting .308. No home runs. He's driven in 5. Pops this one out to the right side. The second baseman Murphy is under it to record out number 1. As we check out the Mets in the field, brought to you by Scotts, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. Ike Davis at first, Murphy at second, Turner for Tejada at short, right at third. In the outfield from left to right, Duda, Cowgill, and Marlon Byrd, with John Buck behind the plate. The battery of Hefner and Buck. So 1 away. Here's Jason Worth. 2 for 3 lifetime against Hefner. Worth batting .274 with 3 home runs. Bryce Harper waiting on deck. 1 out, top of the first inning. Worth falls behind, 0-2.
Jason Worth is not particularly a good two-strike hitter, but he is a very flexible hitter for Davey Johnson. He can hit first, second, fourth, or fifth. Not too many guys in the major leagues can you say that about.
After missing away, now 2-2. Jeremy Hefner, early in his major league career, has struggled over the first 3 innings of games. His earned run average, Tim, when you look at his career starts, over 7. And Jason Worth, very patient at the plate, leads all active players in most pitches seen per at bat. Hefner wins the battle.
Good cutter going away from Jason Worth. You could see Buck setting up outside to get Worth.
So with 2 away, up steps Bryce Harper, the reigning National League Rookie of the Year, batting .339 this season. Already 5 home runs, which ranks 4th in the National League.
As a viewer, he already demands your attention. You're on the phone. Wait a minute. Harper's up already at the age of 20.
Youngest position player ever selected to an All-Star game. And you look at that list, most career home runs before the age of 21. He will not turn 21 until October 16th. He hopes to be playing that day on his 21st birthday.
That would be about NLCS time, right?
Nationals falling just short of the NLCS last October. Harper walks on 4 pitches after going 0 for 4 last night. So the Nationals have their first base runner. 2-out walk issued by Jeremy Hefner.
You sleeping? Oh, come on.
So with Harper on at first, here is Adam LaRoche, who started the season without a hit in his first 15 at bats, but since then has gone 8 for 29.
Our guys in the truck are right on the ball. They said that would be right around game 4 of the National League Championship Series should the Washington Nationals make it in October.
And we're talking about Bryce Harper's 21st birthday, October 16th. Mets with the infield shift against the left-handed hitting Adam LaRoche. LaRoche led the Nationals last season in both home runs with 33, runs batted in with 100. He falls behind 0-2. There's Steven Strasburg. We referred to him in our open. Record dropped to 1-3. Tremendous pitching matchup last night. A pair of 24-year-olds, Strasburg and Matt Harvey, who is now 4-0. First 4-game winner in the majors for the New York Mets.
Harper was going then, trying to take a walking lead off Hefner, and Jeremy alertly threw back to first base. You could see that one extra step. Whoop, got to get back. Good time to run, though. No balls, 2 strikes. If he gets thrown out, then LaRoche leads off the second.
Hefner again throws to first.
Choosing the right pitch, so important. No balls and 2 strikes. A lot of pitchers like to throw the breaking ball in the dirt. Good pitch on which to run.
Harper holds. The pitch is outside. Now 1-2. Harper stole 18 bases last year, 1 so far this season. He and Desmond waiting on deck should LaRoche reach. Now the 1-2 from Hefner, fouled off to the right side. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes on LaRoche. Hefner retired the first 2 Nationals. Then a 4-pitch walk to Harper. And now a 2-ball, 2-strike count to Adam LaRoche. Pitch number 20 of the inning is a called strike 3. Second strikeout for Jeremy Hefner. Harper stranded on first. Gio Gonzalez will face the top of the Mets order when we return. With a record of 8-7, their batting order brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live boss. Justin Turner, the shortstop today, leads off, followed by the second baseman Daniel Murphy. David Wright bats third. John Buck in the cleanup spot. Then first baseman Ike Davis, right fielder Marlon Byrd bats sixth. Bottom of the order, left fielder Lucas Duda, center fielder Colin Cowgill, and then the pitcher Jeremy Hefner. As the Mets face the 27-year-old left-hander Gio Gonzalez, led all of baseball, 21 wins last season, 1-1 over his first 3 starts.
About 5 years ago, someone coined the term electric stuff, and they probably were thinking of Gio Gonzalez when they started that term, because that's exactly what he has. Great curveball, an improving changeup, and a good fastball.
And that fastball is in for a called strike. Ruben Tejada started the first 15 games at shortstop for the Mets. Tweaked his ankle last night. Terry Collins told us he could play today, but would rather give him the extra 24 hours. Still a little stiff.
Yeah, that was a play at second base, and Terry saying he could very well have broken his left leg last night. It was a dangerous play on that flip by Daniel Murphy, the second baseman, with runners on at first and second. And then Matt Harvey pitched out of it.
So Turner gets the start at shortstop, batting leadoff for the first time this year, 8th time in his career. 1-2 from Gonzalez, missing high and away.
7th inning in last night's game, first and second. Daniel Murphy trying to complete the double play. Good play by Tejada to hold on to it. But watch, I said the left leg, actually it was the right leg. Right around the ankle, and could have been a very, very serious play. A little sprain, but he's able to play today, but Terry giving him a day, and that's the right thing to do.
His first day off this season. Turner, Murphy, and Wright for the Mets here in the bottom of the first inning. Justin Turner just 1 for 10 lifetime against Gio Gonzalez. 2-2 in for a called strike 3.
Gio Gonzalez, wicked stuff. We talked about it. That improving changeup because of Greg Maddox. When Gio Gonzalez was pitching in the WBC, Greg Maddox was the pitching coach for Joe Torre. And he said, you know, your changeup's better than you think you are. You ought to use it. And he has. And it's a very, very effective pitch to right-handed batters.
And he was the first DC-based left-hander to win 20 games since Earl Whitehill won 22 back in 1933.
FDR's first year, I believe. First term started that year.
In the same city, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Fastball missing away. Daniel Murphy 1 for 3 in last night's game. Murphy batting .351, which is 9th in the National League, 2nd in the league in runs scored, and tied for the league lead in doubles. Mets captain David Wright waiting on deck with 1 out. Bottom of the first inning. Following the Mets' 7-1 victory last night. They scored 2 in the first against Strasburg. Added 2 more in the 6th inning and then 3 in the 8th. (3-1) to Murphy on the ground to the right side. Espinosa has it. Throw over to LaRoche at first for the 2nd out of the inning. Defensively for the Nationals, brought to you by Scotts, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. We just mentioned both LaRoche and Espinosa. Desmond at short, Tracy at third for Zimmerman. Harper, Span, and Worth from left to right, and Kurt Suzuki for the injured Wilson Ramos behind the plate. So with 2 outs, nobody on, here's David Wright. Tripled in last night's game. 2 for 9 with a home run lifetime against Gonzalez. The Mets, Tim, surprisingly leading the National League in runs per game. They are scoring over 6 runs per game over their first 15.
That is so unusual for a New York Mets team. They've only done that for a year once. That was back in 1990, because it's an organization that's always prided itself on pitching. Some of the great pitchers in the game's history, starting with Tom Seaver back in 1967.
You had to look at John Buck. He is a big reason why the Mets have gotten off to this quick start offensively.
John's certainly one of the reasons that through the first 15, the Mets lead the majors in runs per game.
Wright fouls it back. Now 2-2. Mets 3rd in the National League in home runs. They hit 4 last night. They've gone deep in every home game this season for Terry Collins. They started the year by homering in each of their first 12 games overall. (2-2) from Gonzalez, foul back.
Yeah, after the 2011 season, the Mets realized that they would have to move the fences in, and they did, about 6 to 10 feet from left center on around to right center. Right about there to about there, 6 to 10 feet, and it's worked for a team with more power now.
Hey, it's Mr. Met.
He's everywhere.
Payoff pitch to Wright, missing away. So the Mets have a 2-out base runner as Wright heads to first. Time now for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stack, as John Buck walks up to the plate. Came over from Toronto with the R.A. Dickey deal. He is tied for the major league lead with Chris Davis of the Orioles. 20 runs batted in. The last catcher to lead all of baseball in RBI through the end of April. You have to go back to those 86 Mets managed by Davey Johnson, the late Gary Carter.
One of the most dramatic moments of Gary Carter's career with the Mets was his first game, when in 1985 in the 10th inning he won the game off Neil Allen with a home run to left center field, and the Mets were off and running for a 2-year stretch of great baseball in this city.
Inning comes to an end as Desmond flips to Espinosa. Today's game is sponsored by Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more. And by Taco Bell. Sometimes you've got to live boss. Back at Citi Field, those scores. We head to the top of the second inning. Kenny Albert with Tim McCarver. Ian Desmond leads off for the Nationals against Jeremy Hefner. Swings at the first pitch, sends it to deep left field. It is out of here. Number 3 on the season for Ian Desmond. The Nationals take a 1-0 lead.
Ian Desmond with 27 home runs to lead all shortstops in the majors last year. And that's a situation of a guy going up looking for a fastball, getting it, and hammering it to put the Nationals on top. High fastball. One major problem with Jeremy Hefner. He's given up 6 home runs now in only 11 innings.
6 of the 14 home runs allowed by the Mets.
Right.
So Desmond on the first pitch here in the top of the second takes Hefner deep, his 3rd of the year, to give the Nationals the lead. Desmond, an all-star last season. Now Tracy, hard ground ball to the first baseman Ike Davis for the first out of the inning. Time now for a Lowe's Never Stop Improving game break. Take it away, Matt Feskersian.
Kenny, the Red Sox first game back at Fenway since their Patriots Day game shortly before the bombing at the Boston Marathon on Monday, and David Ortiz is helping restore normalcy as RBI single, evening up their game with the Royals. We'll keep you posted. Back to Kenny and Tim in Flushing.
All right, thanks very much, Matt. And our thoughts and prayers are certainly with the entire city of Boston and those affected by the tragedy. Red Sox wearing the word Boston on the front of their jersey today, not the usual Red Sox.
Normally, the word Boston is used on the road uniforms, not at home. But today, Boston loud and clear.
The visiting Kansas City Royals also wearing Boston patches on their uniform. And how about the Red Sox? 11-4. Both John Lester and Clay Buchholz off to 3-0 starts.
John Lester and John Farrell having something to do with that. John Farrell coming over as manager of the Toronto Blue Jays to manage the Red Sox.
And Farrell had been the Red Sox pitching coach when Lester had great success between 2007 and 2010.
And Buchholz too.
Right. Two and two on Danny Espinosa, who has been bothered by a sore right wrist, hit by a pitch last weekend. Returning to the Nationals lineup today. He has 2 career home runs against Hefner and sends this one into the right field corner. Extra bases for Espinosa. So Desmond leads off the inning with a home run, and now a 1-out double off the bat of Espinosa, who is now 5 for 9 lifetime against Hefner.
Yeah, that was a changeup out over the plate, and the reason Espinosa is on second base, he gave himself a chance to take the extra base. Running hard out of the box. Marlon Byrd does what he can, but Espinosa with a double. 6th extra base hit. And Washington has in the middle of their lineup the middle infielders that are exceptional. Espinosa with 17 home runs last year. Desmond 27. Not too many teams can boast that much power in the middle of the lineup, middle of the infield.
So with Espinosa on at second, only 1 out. Here's the number 8 hitter, Kurt Suzuki. He takes low and away, ball 1. Suzuki batting .321. Leads the team with an on-base percentage of .444.
Which is not important for an 8th place hitter.
Right.
But it does give you an idea of how many pitches he's taken to give the pitcher a chance to get up and bunt him over, perhaps. This is, by the way, a situation with the pitcher on deck. It's not a pitch around situation. Go right at him. Because if he gets on, then the pitcher's going to bunt him over, and Denard Span's got too much speed with a guy on at third base.
Fastball missing inside, now 2-1.
One of the things that's really not talked as much about is how a catcher can influence how a pitcher pitches to a lineup. Very, very important. Who to pitch around and who not to.
Knocked down by Hefner. He checked Espinosa, who moves to third, and then throws out Suzuki for the 2nd out of the inning. Today's game presented by Chevrolet is sponsored by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds.
Hey, Kenny, that would have been a double play had Hefner made the play, because Espinosa was off at second base right there. Had he made the catch and thrown to second, it's an easy double play, but they only get 1 as a result.
So instead, Espinosa takes his lead off third as Gonzalez swings and misses. 0-1. You see that batting average? He's 2 for 4 with a home run back on April 3rd against the Twins' Kevin Slowey. Gonzalez gets the bat on a slow roller, and he is thrown out by Hefner. Returns to Fox as lightweight champion Benson Henderson puts his title on the line against top contender Gilbert Melendez, highlighting a full night of epic fights. Henderson and Melendez for the lightweight title. Fox UFC Saturday is live and it is free tonight, beginning at 8 Eastern. And we are pleased to be welcomed here in the booth by Uriah Hall, a mixed martial arts star who grew up right here in Queens, not too far from the City Field. And Uriah, first of all, welcome. You're coming off an impressive run on The Ultimate Fighter. Tell us a little bit about that experience and what's next for you.
Thank you. Just being on the show was just an overwhelming experience, man. I learned so much, you know, from the coaches, Chael, and just being in an uncomfortable environment and just gradually cutting weight and fighting. You know, it was grueling, man. And to come out on top of that, you know, it feels pretty good. Because
it is so grueling, how in the world did you get into that line of work? I thought catching was tough.
Well, for me, martial arts was just a sport that clicked. You know, I could say for a lot of people, if they find a sport that grabs them, just like any one of these guys, martial arts was it for me. And as a kid growing up, I was just so fascinated about all that cool stuff. But I never got an opportunity. And just coming here and be able to do it just, you know, took it to the next level.
All right, Davis leading off for the Mets here at the bottom of the second inning against Gio Gonzalez. You're right. Did you play any other sports? I know this is the first Major League Baseball game you've attended. Did you play any baseball? Any other sports?
I've never played baseball. I actually played like a day of tennis, which I don't know what I was thinking, but that was it. I played soccer back home, but martial arts was like the only thing I was interested in.
Davis strikes out, one away as Marlon Byrd steps to the plate. How about the lightweight bout tonight? Benson Henderson and Gilbert Melendez on Fox.
Man, that's going to be a battle, you know. I know Benson, he's the man, man. Just watching the last fight with Nate Diaz, you know, I love Nate too, but it's just the way he went out there and he just picked everything apart, you know, and looking at Gilbert too, he's a Strikeforce champ, you know, that dude's a brawler, so look for an intense fight tonight.
First pitch from Gonzalez to Marlon Byrd. Misses ball one.
Are any of those fights not intense?
No, not at all, man. When you get in there, it's a total different mindset, man. And you know, just like my coach said, you know, the environment is the same. It's just that the people, you know, the judges and maybe a ref in the ring, you can't just let that get to you. And sometimes it gets to you a little bit.
We're joined by Uriah Hall, mixed martial arts star who was born in Jamaica, moved to Queens at the age of 13. And I read, Uriah, that you watch a lot of video games and movies, and that's how you learned about martial arts?
Absolutely. For me, again, you know, I was just always fascinated about it. And video game, of course, was at that time when I was a kid. It was cool, and it just made me want to learn and do all that stuff. And I guess when I joined martial arts, it just became a little easier.
Here's the 2-1 from Gonzalez. Backhand play by the shortstop Desmond. It deflects off his glove, so the Mets have a one-out base runner.
Too tough a play. I would imagine that's a base hit for Marlon Byrd, and it is a hit. Too much to do for Ian Desmond at shortstop. Ball kind of crawls up the arm. So a base hit, the Mets' first hit of the game.
And Lucas Duda steps to the plate like Ike Davis. He homered twice last night. Both Davis and Duda went deep in the 6th inning off Strasburg, and then again in the 8th off Drew Storen. Marlon Byrd, the runner on first with one out. Now, Uriah, I assume that fighting in your home state of New York would be something that you hope does happen in the near future.
It would be amazing just to, you know, have my family, my friends, and of course fans to be there, you know, in my backyard and fight. Man, what can I say? You know, I encourage like all these guys, the Mets, you know, fans and everybody that's watching, of course, to go to their local assembly and stay, you know, local assembly and just vote to get New York legalized, man. It's amazing. I think New York's
it's not legalized in New York.
It's not. It's not. I mean, I think amateur is, but like the professional part of it is not legalized yet. And I think New York is missing out because it's the greatest city in the world, and of course, it's the toughest sport in the world. So if you get both of them, you know, it's be the greatest place on this planet, pretty much.
Are there other states that where it's not legal?
I think New York and I think Connecticut are the only two states that are not legalized right now. And you know, we have a lot of fans all over the place, and just to have them to kind of go to their local spot and watch it live, you know, it'll be a lot easier. You have Jones coming up fighting Chael in what, the 27th, and it's pretty much across the bridge, and you know he's a local New Yorker, so that sucks. But I would love to have it here, man. I want everybody to vote, get it legalized, basically.
Well, you can watch.
I'm fighting for it.
There you go. You can watch the UFC on Fox again tonight. It's live. It's free, beginning at 8 Eastern. Lightweight champion Benson Henderson puts his title on the line against top contender Gilbert Melendez, as Duda pops out to the shortstop Desmond. Uriah, thanks for stopping by. Best of luck in the future, and enjoy the remainder of this game.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Uriah.
Awesome first time.
All right, Uriah Hall, mixed martial arts star. Look for him in the future, coming off the Ultimate Fighter experience, and he will be tuning in tonight on Fox at 8 Eastern. 2 away, here's Colin Cowgill, who began his Mets career by hitting a grand slam on opening day. Has tailed off a bit at the plate, just 4 for his last 23, and he takes a called strike, 0-1.
That was opening day at a 105 start against the San Diego Padres, and about 12 miles away the Yankees were opening at the same time, 105, against the Boston Red Sox, no less.
Cowgill sends this one into the right field corner, and it curves foul. The Yankees lost that game on opening day, but they've bounced back, second place in the American League East, 2 games behind the Red Sox.
We may have mentioned the Red Sox on a 6-game winning streak before that game was canceled for obvious reasons last night.
Red Sox have won 7 of 9 on the road. Off to a great start under first-year manager John Farrell. And we are going to take you live to Fenway Park as the fans join in and sing Sweet Caroline. One-two to Cowgill, missing high and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Gio Gonzalez traded from the Oakland Athletics a couple of years ago, and last year Colin Cowgill, a center fielder for the American League West winners, with 94 wins last year, winning the last 3 against the Texas Rangers. Remarkable year for the A's last year.
Certainly was. Called strike 3. Third strikeout for Gonzalez. Mets strand a runner. 2 innings in the books. Will return after a word from your local Fox station. File brought to you by Ace, the Helpful Place. Last night's starter and winner for the Mets, Matt Harvey, allowed just 1 run on 4 hits in 7 innings, and he struck out 7. First 4-game winner in Major League Baseball here in 2013.
How about this? Harvey has 32 strikeouts. The rest of the staff, 36.
Wow. 32 strikeouts in 4 starts. Denard Span leading off here in the top of the 3rd inning for the Nationals. Popped out to the second baseman Murphy. His first time up. With Jason Worth on deck. The 1-1 from Hefner. Left field, Lucas Duda, 1 out. Harvey and Strasburg meeting for the first of what should be many head-to-head matchups throughout their careers. Both 24 years of age. With his idol, Doc Gooden, watching.
Yeah.
Doc was here in the ballpark. Matt Harvey, 29 innings. He has allowed 3 earned runs. As Worth takes strike 1, he struck out back in the 1st inning. How about this, Tim? Over Harvey's first 14 career starts, dating back to last season, 102 strikeouts, as Worth will go for extra bases. 3rd extra base hit for the Washington Nationals. It is a stand-up double into the left field corner.
David Wright off the line properly, and Jason Worth gets an inside fastball to double, his 2nd double of the year.
So Matt Harvey, 102 strikeouts over his first 14 starts in Mets history. Only Doc Gooden and Nolan Ryan had more.
You mentioned Harvey at 24. Doc Gooden joined the Mets in 1984 as a 19-year-old. The year before, in Double-A ball in Lynchburg, he struck out 300 in 190 innings.
Wow.
And Doc, to watch Harvey pitch last night.
And Doc Gooden, one of only 2 men who were all-stars at a younger age than Bryce Harper.
That's right. Doc pitching in the 1984 game at Candlestick Park when nobody could see. Struck out 3 American leaguers.
Harper with a blast, deep right field. 3-0 Nationals. Number 6 on the season for Bryce Harper.
Davey Johnson telling us last night that one of many impressive things about Harper is how short he is to the ball. It's very unusual for a left-handed batter to have these quick hands, and Harper does, and hits it home run number 6 on the year. Lightning fast on an 83-mile-an-hour changeup.
And Harper takes Hefner deep on the first strike that he has seen today. Walked on 4 pitches, and then this with a 1-0 count. So for Jeremy Hefner, the 7th home run he has allowed this season. LaRoche called out on strikes his first time up, and now he walks on 4 pitches. Time for a game break. We check in once again with Matt Feskersian. Matt?
Kenny, Tigers and Angels in the afternoon could not have gotten off to a worse start for Rick Porcello. 9 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. Big blow Mike Trout's first career grand slam. Back to Kenny and Tim in Flushing.
So Harper with a home run, a 2-run shot, and Trout with his first career grand slam.
Yeah, so much for spring training. Rick Porcello had a terrific spring. He struck out 21 and walked none, and was 5-1 in spring training, off to a poor start for the Tigers.
Porcello, the New Jersey native. Ian Desmond, ground ball to the shortstop, Turner. And the Mets turn 2 to end the inning. But the Nationals extend their lead on Bryce Harper's 6th home run of the season. Chance to win a Chevrolet Impala and a trip to the MLB All-Star Game. Visit ChevyBaseball.com. Kenny Albert, Tim McCarver from Citi Field. Jeremy Hefner at the plate. He has allowed 2 home runs. Nationals lead the Mets 3-0. Hefner 0 for 3 this season. 2 career hits in 23 at-bats. We will take you up to Fenway Park in Boston in just a couple of minutes for Sweet Caroline.
Gio Gonzalez, meanwhile, has had unhittable stuff here through the first 2+ innings.
He has allowed an infield hit off the bat of Marlon Byrd, deflected away from the shortstop Desmond. Walked David Wright in the first inning, and that has been it. Hefner down on strikes, 4th strikeout for Gonzalez.
Through the first 9, the Mets have not had a ball out of the infield so far in this game.
Four strikeouts, 2 groundouts, and a pop out, along with the walk and the infield single. And Tim, the 4 strikeouts have all been looking.
Yeah, which is also an early indication of a pitcher's stuff. When major league hitters can't pull the trigger.
Justin Turner fouls it off to the right side. He was caught looking back in the first inning. Gonzalez coming off a start last Sunday, during which he allowed 7 runs on 7 hits in 5 innings against the Atlanta Braves. They scored 3 first-inning runs, hit 2 home runs, but a much different story, at least here in the early going today. Gonzalez finished 3rd in Cy Young voting in the National League last year, behind the Mets' R.A. Dickey and the Dodgers' Clayton Kershaw. He led all of baseball, as we mentioned, with 21 wins, struck out a career-high 207. It's Matt Harvey, Mets 4-game winner. Matt on the left. Tracy at third. Justin Turner is retired, 2 away.
You mentioned those 207 strikeouts. The last time a Washington, D.C. pitcher struck out 200 or more during a season, Walter Johnson in 1916.
Wow.
Tom Seaver, by the way, we mentioned him earlier. He struck out 200 or more 9 straight seasons. Gives you an idea of how tough it is to strike out 200 in a season. Seaver did it 9 straight years. Tom Terrific was all of that with the Mets.
And Tom Terrific won his first major league game in his second start on this date in 1967. Check swing, ball 1, says Brian Knight, the third base umpire. So 1-2 on Murphy. So Tom Seaver, first major league win against the Cubs on this date, and Ted Williams made his major league debut on this date in 1939 in the Bronx. Murphy down on strikes. That is 5 strikeouts for Gio Gonzalez. So through 3, it's the Nationals 3 and the Mets nothing. Mets have still not gotten the ball out of the infield. Coming up, we will chat with the Mets ace, Matt Harvey.
Today, I bring love from the whole country. Where it began, I can't begin to know it, but then I know it's growing strong. Was in the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Touching hands, reaching out touching me, touching me. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so. To believe they never would, but now I look in the night and don't seem so lonely. We fill it up with only two. And when I hurt, it runs off my shoulders. How can I hurt when I'm here with you? Warm, touching warm, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would. Oh, no, no. All right, we're coming to the last chorus. Need to hear everybody singing. Are you ready? Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would. Yes! Thank you, everybody! Thank you!
That was tremendous.
Touching everyone.
Neil Diamond at Fenway Park in Boston, leading the crowd in Sweet Caroline, as Jeremy Hefner and the Mets have fallen behind 3-0. A leadoff walk. Chad Tracy on at first. Danny Espinosa at the plate, doubled back in the second inning. David Wright in at third. And now 7 of the last 8 pitches thrown by Hefner have been balls as he falls behind 3-0.
Yeah, and this could be a get-up guy, meaning if this batter gets on Espinosa, Terry Collins almost has to get someone up in the bullpen.
As Tracy goes, throw down to second, is in time.
That's a bad play. The reason that's a bad play is when you have a pitcher who's not getting the ball over the plate with consistency. Tracy had just walked, and no contact by Espinosa. Keep in mind, Espinosa struck out 189 times last year to lead the major leagues. So it's not a good time to send the runner 3-1, but Davey Johnson sent him. He's out, and that's a full count to Espinosa and a chance to get Hefner out of the inning if he can get Espinosa and Suzuki.
Full count with 1 out. Aaron Laffey is up and throwing, the left-hander in the Mets pen. Slow roller. Here's Hefner off the mound, and he fires to first to retire Espinosa. Now 2 away. Today's game is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Scotts, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. 2 away for Kurt Suzuki. And we promise you we will chat with Matt Harvey during the bottom of the 4th inning. Following our live look in at Fenway Park, Neil Diamond singing Sweet Caroline to the sold-out crowd. Neil Diamond, a Brooklyn native, attended Lincoln High School, went on to New York University. He was a member of the 1960 NCAA championship men's fencing team.
Wow, I did not know that. Nice going.
And then went on to bigger and better.
No, did he ever. Pretty fair career for Neil.
All started in Brooklyn. How about that, Tim? Kurt Suzuki, one of 3 active players to have at least 25 career starts at all 9 spots in the batting order. The Mets' Marlon Byrd is one of the other 2. What a play by Hefner!
Look at this!
Can you believe that?
No, I can't. Behind the back. Watch again.
We'll have to ask Matt Harvey if he's ever done that. With a 3-0 lead over the New York Mets. Kenny Albert, Tim McCarver, bottom of the 4th inning as we welcome in from the Mets dugout last night's winning pitcher. He leads all of baseball with 4 wins. Matt Harvey, thanks for joining us. And first of all, have you ever seen a play like the one that Jeremy Hefner just made moments ago?
No. I thought he was going to throw it from the ground there for a second. But,
have you ever done that, Matt?
I've gotten a few line drives back at myself, but I don't think I've ever made a play like that.
What was the talk in the dugout when Jeremy came back in?
I don't know. Just good play. I mean, you never know what's going to happen when the ball gets by him or trickles off of him. So he made a good play and then, got up and made the out.
There's David Wright leading off. He walked back in the 1st inning. Wright, Buck, and Davis for the Mets here in the 4th. Matt, talk about what it was like last night, the atmosphere here at Citi Field. as you matched up with Steven Strasburg for the first time?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, you know, you could feel the electricity in the air, and you know, I knew there was going to be some extra adrenaline going, and you know, it was one of those things. I think I came out a little too strong in the first inning, but you know, I'm learning from that, and you know, it was good. It was a good win for us.
With Doc Gooden in attendance, huh, Matt?
Yeah, that was fun.
Have you spent some time speaking with Doc? I know you've talked about the fact that he was one of your idols, and you really enjoyed watching him pitch. Have you spent a lot of time talking pitching with him?
No, he was in the clubhouse before the game yesterday, but I was running out to warm up and stuff, so I was kind of locked in, and hopefully he'll be around a little more, and I'll get to you know, chew his ear out a little bit.
2-1 to right, in for a called strike. Now 2-2. 2 home runs for the Washington Nationals, including a 2-run shot off the bat of Bryce Harper, as Wright fouls it off. And Matt, you got the better of Bryce last night, 0 for 4. What's it like facing him?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, you know, you saw what he did in the third inning there. I mean, you know, he's a good player, he's a good kid, and you know, he's a tough out. So you know, really getting that extra you know, energy to get him out is definitely big. And you know, it's a fun matchup, and you know, hopefully we're doing that for a while.
David Wright into the right field corner, bounces off the wall for extra bases. Worth chasing after it. Wright is on his way to third, and he is in with his league-leading third triple of the season.
That is terrific base running by David Wright. More often than not, with nobody out, you want to stop at second base, but David, with the play in front of him, the ball bounces far enough away from Worth in right field that he keeps going around second. You're your own coach in a situation like that. You make up your own mind, and as Kenny said, the third triple of the young season for David, and applause from Matt Harvey.
David tripled last night as well. John Buck at the plate. Matt, we just saw your bio. We plugged your Twitter account. You're a local kid. You grew up in Connecticut. As Buck takes ball 1. Were you even aware of the chants last night from the crowd of Harvey's better, or are you so locked in that you don't even hear a thing?
No, I was in the dugout, so I heard that one, but you know, I knew there was a lot of game left, and you know, I still had to go back out there and try and put up zeros, and you know, unfortunately I gave up that 1 run, but you know, that was a big win for us, and you know, definitely a good start.
It's very important for you to stay calm, isn't it, Matt? Somebody had a big effect on the way you handle yourself and the way you handled your career. Who was it, if you could tell us?
Probably my dad. I mean, you know, just everything that he taught me, you know, being a man, being, you know, a baseball player, it was always respect the game, respect, you know, your teammates, and you know, I learned from him, and I always listened, I always watched, and you know, I give all that thanks to him for sure.
Here's the 2-0 to John Buck. And Matt, we know what John's done at the plate this season, but what about his influence as a veteran catcher to the pitching staff?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, you know, every time he's back there and he calls a pitch, you know, he's calling the fastball with aggression, and you know, I can feel that and I can see it, and you know, he's been helping me on and off the mound, and you know, he knows these hitters. He's been in the league for a long time, so you know, if he sees something from a certain batter, then you know, he goes right after it, and you know, he's been helping me a ton. I've been jumping on his back, and you know, I couldn't be more thankful to have him back there.
3 balls, 1 strike as we continue to chat with Mets pitcher Matt Harvey, who won for the 4th time this season last night. David Wright, a leadoff triple, takes his leadoff third with John Buck at the plate. The 3-1 from Gonzalez. Fastball missing inside, so the Mets have runners on the corners with nobody out. As we take a look, Matt, at the select company, 3 Mets pitchers who have all won their first 4 starts of the season with an earned run average under 1. The others, David Cohn at 88, Mike Pelfrey 3 years ago. As Ike Davis steps in, he was called out on strikes back in the 2nd inning. One more question, Matt, and then we'll let you go. I know you're a big New York Rangers fan. You've gotten to know goaltender Henrik Lundqvist. You've been in the recording studio with him, and we hear you can carry a tune. As Gonzalez looks right back to third and then gets the out at first. Is that true?
A little bit. No, we were having some fun. We were just hanging out and had a couple buddies over, and you know, obviously he's very talented with the guitar. And, you know, we were just hanging out, having a good time, and I think there was some singing going on there, definitely. But you know, it was all fun and games.
All right, Matt. Well, hopefully we can hear it one day. Continued success. You're off to a great start this season for the Mets. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Matt Harvey of the New York Mets, as his team looks to put together a rally trailing 3-0. Runners on second and third with one out. And Marlon Byrd at the plate. Byrd with an infield single back in the second inning. David Wright on third. John Buck, the runner, at second. Lucas Duda waiting on deck. 3-0 lead for the Nationals. Ian Desmond a solo shot in the second. Bryce Harper, 2-run home run in the third off Jeremy Hefner. As Gonzalez missing away, now 2-0 on Byrd.
Do not have to give in here. Even though you have a 3-run lead, you do have a left-hander on deck with one out. If he walks Byrd, you know, it's not the end of the world.
Fouled off to the right side, now 2-1.
That's the thing about Gonzalez, though. He can throw his fastball when he's behind in the count and have it still be effective.
Wright, Buck, the base runners. Byrd awaits the 2-1 from Gio Gonzalez. On the ground to the third baseman, Tracy, who throws home. They have Wright caught up in a rundown. So the Mets now at first and second and 2 outs.
Good play by Chad Tracy. Second and third and 1 out with the infield back. You do have the third baseman even with the bag. So an easy 2-hopper. Tracy comes home. And Suzuki working the play perfectly as Tracy makes the tag on David Wright. No chance for Buck to go to third base.
Score at 5-2-5 as Wright is tagged out by Tracy. So now Buck on second, Byrd on at first. Here's Lucas Duda. Duda 2 home runs last night. Now has 5 on the season. 2 on, 2 out. Bottom of the 4th inning from Citi Field.
Over his shoulders with the breaking ball. That ball almost hit him. I mean, how can you miss the Duda frame? 6'4.5", 250. And yet the curveball eludes him.
Aaron Laffey continues to throw in the Mets pen. The 1-0 again.
Well, some stirring here at Citi Field, but obviously no intent here. A duplicate pitch. A Duda ducks under again. And you can't say that real fast. Duda ducks.
Not a duplicate pitch. And there's Davey. Duda ducks. Davey.
Got it. Got it.
2-0. 2 on, 2 out. Gonzalez missing away, ball 3.
I'll tell you, I'd give him the hit sign here. Big, strong guy with 2 home runs in last night's game. Chance to tie it. To see what Terry Collins does. I think he should be hitting here. Never know.
Takes ball 4. So Duda walks on 4 pitches. And the bases are loaded for the guy who hit the grand slam on opening day, Colin Cowgill. How about this, Tim? There have only been 4 grand slam home runs hit by National League clubs this season. And the Mets have 2 of the 4, Cowgill and John Buck. So the bases full of Mets. Cowgill called out on strikes his first time up, and with the pitcher Hefner due up next, Ruben Tejada has come out into the on-deck circle. And there's Laffey in the Mets pen. There's David Wright, who tripled leading off the inning. Got caught up in a rundown. Buck on third, Bird on second, and Duda over at first. As Cowgill takes low, 1-1. Cowgill with a base hit into left field. 1 run scores. Here comes Bird. Back in at second is Duda. It's a 2-run single off the bat of Colin Cowgill. And the Mets cut the Nationals lead to 3-2.
Steve McCatty, the pitching coach, now out to talk to him, but it gives you an idea of what Bryce Harper did right here. No play at home. Tries to throw behind Lucas Duda to get him diving back into the bag. So a big hit for Colin Cowgill to move the Mets to within 1. Marlon Byrd scores easily from second base. Harper trying to make that play quickly at second to get Duda diving back before the run scores.
So Gonzalez running into trouble here in the 4th inning. As the Mets have scored 2, still threatening. He's allowed 2 runs on 3 hits in 3 2/3. Own Your Space pitcher profile brought to you by Avis. 72 pitches for Gio Gonzalez. So Colin Cowgill, Tim, now with 8 runs batted in this season. 4 coming on opening day on the grand slam, and 2 moments ago, as Tejada, who tweaked that ankle last night, will pinch hit for Hefner. Duda and Cowgill, the base runners, as Tejada takes strike 1.
Cowgill with the big hit, but the 2 walks in this inning were a killer for Gonzalez. The 4-pitch walk to John Buck and the 4-pitch walk to Lucas Duda.
Gonzalez missing away now. 1-1. Tejada 0 for 4 in last night's game. Justin Turner on deck. Tejada, the 7th batter the Mets have sent to the plate here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Here's Jeremy Hefner, the Mets starter. Pitch gets away from Suzuki, both runners home.
How about that? It knocked his glove off. That fastball inside. Watch the glove of Suzuki just jettison off the left hand.
So his hand
pretty good indication of how hard Gonzalez is throwing.
His hand feels like yours did when you caught Tom Seaver in the 1967 All-Star game.
Yep.
told us that story earlier, the 15-inning All-Star game back in 1967.
Yeah, Tom Seaver got the save, but actually pitched 2 innings in that game, one by the National League. And I ended up catching Tom, and I was looking at my hand walking off the field saying to myself, Gibson never did this, but Seaver did. And that's the truth. I didn't realize how hard Tom Seaver threw until I caught him in that game. I didn't think he threw that hard when I played against him earlier in the year. But when I caught him, I thought differently.
Full count, 2 outs, bottom of the 4th inning. Tejada pinch hitting for Hefner. Runners go. Another foul. There's Hefner, middle of your screen. Allowed 2 home runs over his 4-inning stint today. Aaron Laffey looks to be ready. Runners go, and for the 3rd consecutive time, Tejada fouls it back off to the right side. "31 pitches this inning thrown by Gonzalez, including 8 to the pinch hitter Ruben Tejada. Runners go, another foul. Pitch number 10 to Tejada, missing high and away. It is the 3rd walk of the inning issued by Gonzalez. The bases once again loaded as we check in with Matt Vasgersian at the MLB Network for a game break. Matt?
Yeah, Kenny, in Boston, an emotional scene has gotten even more interesting. Kelvin Herrera for the Royals trying to protect a 1-run lead with 2 gone in the 8th. Daniel Nava gets to him for a 3-run shot. Red Sox up 4-2. However, Lorenzo Cain homered against Andrew Bailey in the 9th. And the Royals have 2 runners aboard with 1 away, trailing by a run. Back to you guys, Kenny and Tim.
All right, thanks very much, Matt. Here at Citi Field, Nationals lead the Mets 3-2. Mets have loaded the bases for the 2nd time in the inning. There's Duda, Cowgill, and Tejada. Justin Turner takes ball 1.
Gio Gonzalez, a very emotional pitcher. And he has allowed his emotions to show in this inning. That's okay to do, but not the other way.
Turner with a base hit into left field. Duda scores. Here comes Cowgill. And the Mets take a 4-3 lead. 2nd and 3rd runs batted in of the season for Justin Turner.
Turner gets a high fastball and drills it between 3rd and short. 2-run score, and the Mets with 4 runs here in the 4th inning. Justin Turner, a very happy hitter, and should be.
He had been 1 for 12 lifetime against Gio Gonzalez. Mets with 4 runs in the inning on 3 hits and 3 walks.
He's got to really step off, gather himself, and slow things down. Craig Stammen now is up and throwing for Washington. You wonder how much longer Steve McCaddy and Davey Johnson will stay with the emotional Gonzalez. From what we've heard, his emotions can be his ally or his enemy. In this inning, they've been his enemy.
All 4 runs, Tim, scored with 2 outs.
Yeah.
Pitch number 39 this inning from Gonzalez. Tejada at second. Turner takes his lead off first. Gonzalez has already walked 3 Mets in the inning. Two of the 3 have come around to score. 3-1 to Murphy. Base hit over the glove of the second baseman, Espinosa. And the Mets now lead 5-3 as Tejada crosses the plate. 12th run batted in for Daniel Murphy. Mets have scored 5 in the inning.
Now, we've seen this ritual before. Good hitting by Daniel Murphy. All 5 runs, as you said, Kenny, scored with 2 outs. And now I think you're going to see Suzuki go out, talk to Gonzalez. And if Davey Johnson takes him out, it will not be a very happy Gio Gonzalez, who is scheduled, at least the pitcher spot, scheduled to lead off in the 5th inning. And I would imagine Davey and Steve McCaddy are talking about whether to make a double switch with the pitcher spot leading off in the 5th inning. We'll see what happens.
Here's David Wright, who started the inning with a triple. He wound up getting erased on a rundown. But he will bat for the 2nd time this inning as Gonzalez throws over. Turner at 3rd. Murphy over at 1st. Mets with 5 runs in the inning on 4 hits and 3 walks. The shortstop Desmond with the flip to second, and Gonzalez finally gets out of the inning. But the Mets score 5, all with 2 outs. They lead the Nationals here at Citi Field 5-3. By Chevrolet. from Citi Field. Kenny Albert, Tim McCarver. There is Aaron Laffey, the 27-year-old left-hander, on in relief of Jeremy Hefner. Laffey started for the Mets on Tuesday, the second game of the Twin Bill in Denver. A 9-8 Rockies win, and he will face a pinch hitter, Steve Lombardozzi, batting for Nationals starter Gio Gonzalez. First pitch in for a called strike to Lombardozzi, who is batting .320 this season, 8 hits in 25 at-bats.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Aaron Laffey prefers the weather today than the last time he pitched.
Yes.
On Tuesday night in Denver, when it was 22 degrees, the wind blowing about 20 miles an hour, and just a cruel, cruel night for fans and players alike in Denver.
Today, 55 degrees at game time here in Flushing. Many of the players had never played in a game in those conditions, those elements, those temperatures in their careers, including David Wright. Lombardozzi shoots it into left field. Duda is under it, 1 away. Well, the bottom of the 4th inning took 22 minutes. Mets sent 10 batters to the plate, including David Wright twice. They scored 5 runs on 4 hits. Gonzalez walked 3.
All crucial, too.
And all the runs coming with 2 outs. 1 out here in the top of the 5th. Here's Denard Span, who is 0 for 2.
How many times have you seen an inning like that with 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, and the runner on 3rd getting nailed at the plate? You're down by 3, and you figure, well, he's out of it now. And the Mets kept attacking, walking key hits, 2 strike hits. David Wright's hit to lead it off as a 2-strike hit. Good at bat by Tejada to walk. Excellent offensive inning as the Mets sent 10 batters to the plate in the 4th inning.
Here's Daniel Murphy. He drove in a run. Ground ball to the second baseman. Murphy has it. And Span is retired. He is now 0 for 3. So a 2 away here is Jason Worth. Tim, this past Wednesday was the 49th anniversary of the first game ever played at Shea Stadium, right across the parking lot, April 17th, 1964. And Jason Worth's grandfather, Dickie Schofield, took the first at bat in a major league game played at Shea Stadium. He popped out to second.
Dick filled in so admirably for the Pittsburgh Pirates after Dick Groat, the MVP in 1960, broke his hand, broke his wrist, I believe. And Dick filling in, and I think Dick Groat came back and played against the Yankees in the World Series, one of the famous World Series, where Game 7 won by Bill Mazeroski, which got him in the Hall of Fame. If he doesn't hit that home run, he's not in the Hall of Fame. Great player, but that home run was momentous. That's understating it.
One of the most memorable home runs in baseball history. Worth doubled his last time up, struck out in the first inning. The 3-1 from Aaron Laffey, in for a called strike, full count. Jason's uncle, Dick Schofield, also played in the major leagues.
Played for the Mets.
Yeah, as did his stepfather, Dennis Worth. Baseball family, payoff pitch. Worth heads out to first. 49 years and 3 days after his grandfather was the first major leaguer to step to the plate at Shea Stadium. So now it's Bryce Harper. We take you back to the top of the 3rd inning as he took Jeremy Hefner deep for his 6th home run of the season. A 2-run shot that gave the Nationals a 3-0 lead, but they now trail by 2. So a 2-out walk issued by Laffey. Worth takes his lead off first as Laffey throws over.
Davey Johnson telling us about his first conversation with Bryce Harper when Bryce came up, and Bryce said, Davey said, "What are you thinking about right now?" And he said, "I'm as calm as I've ever been in my life." He's calmer in the majors than he was working himself into a major league job.
Wow.
Which is a very interesting thing. Usually it's the other way around. That's when you become nervous. He is of a different cloth, this young man.
He has said, quote, "I want to change the game." .2-0 from Laffey, and Harper fouls it off to the left side. We mentioned earlier he was the 3rd youngest All-Star. Last July, only Doc Gooden and Bob Feller were All-Stars at a younger age, not by much. Now the 2-1, a swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Bryce Harper, in the early going, has shown the 2 T's. He's talented and tough.
Just ask Cole Hamels.
Right.
Laffey missing away, and the count is full. Nationals bullpen, Craig Stammen. Harper with a base hit into left field. Worth is held at 3rd. Harper in at 2nd with his 2nd extra base hit today. He's reached base in all 3 plate appearances.
Rick Eckstein is the hitting instructor for the Nationals, and he's got to be very happy about this. Harper homers to right center, and then his next at bat, he doubles down the left field line, not becoming overly enamored with pulling the ball. There's Rick Eckstein. Hitting coaches love that, because particularly from young hitters, because if you hit a ball out of the ballpark, you think all of a sudden you're a home run hitter. But again, an example of how Harper is beyond his years. To add to his legend, on Tuesday night, throwing up before the game, Davey Johnson say he was as pale as a ghost. He goes out and goes 4 for 5 against Miami. He is something, no question about it.
So now 2nd and 3rd for the Nationals with 2 away. Adam LaRoche called out on strikes in the 1st, walked in the 3rd inning. Aaron Laffey retired the first 2 Nationals in this half inning. He then walked Jason Worth. And then the double into the left field corner off the bat of Bryce Harper. Bounce foul back behind first, 1-1.
Good fastball from Laffey, probably the best, at least the hardest pitch that he's thrown in this inning. It says all the marks of a 12-11 game, was it not?
Long run for Cowgill on the warning track in center. He looks up. It is out of here. A 3-run shot off the bat of Adam LaRoche. And the Nationals go back on top 6-5. What did you just say, Tim? Might be 12-11 in the next inning.
Maybe. We're halfway there for both teams. I'll tell you, Adam LaRoche climbed the ladder to hit this high cutter from Aaron Laffey. This ball's above the shoulders. No, I thought it was higher than that. I beg your pardon. But a home run nonetheless, carrying into left center field, and the Nationals retake the lead.
As the Nationals score these 3 runs with 2 out.
Yeah.
It is 33-year-old right-hander Brandon Lyon facing Ian Desmond, who took Jeremy Hefner deep back in the 2nd inning. Nationals now have 3 home runs, a solo shot, a 2-run homer, and now a 3-run home run here in the 5th inning off the bat of Adam LaRoche. So all 6 Washington runs have come via the long ball.
That's the one thing, Kenny, that any National League team or any team that plays Washington does not want to do and that is to get into a battle of the bullpens with them. I mean, these guys can throw. Davey Johnson has 4 former closers from which to choose.
Inning finally comes to an end. Nationals back on top. The all-new 2014 Chevrolet Impala, which proudly supports the craft of baseball. Wild game here at Citi Field in Flushing. Nationals went 3-0. Mets scored 5. All with 2 outs at the bottom of the 4th. And then the Nationals come back with 3 in the top of the 5th inning. 3 Nationals home runs, accounting for all 6 of their runs. Bryce Harper with a home run, a double, 2 runs batted in, and he has scored 2 runs. As John Buck leads off for the Mets here in the bottom of the 5th inning against 29-year-old right-hander Craig Stammen.
And to reiterate what we said at the top half of this inning, it's tough to get into a bullpen match with the Washington Nationals.
Davey Johnson telling us before the game, I have 4 guys who could close.
Right.
Tyler Clippard with 32 saves last year. Drew Storen, 43 saves the season prior in 2011. Rafael Soriano, who saved 42 games for the Yankees last season, and Henry Rodriguez.
I was going to say, and even Henry Rodriguez, who, when Drew Storen went down a couple of years ago, missed the first 89 games last year, was the closer for the Nationals until he came up with elbow problems.
Strike 3, says the first base umpire Mark Carlson. So Buck is retired, 1 away.
John Buck tried to sell it to the home plate umpire Jerry Davis, but he couldn't sell it to Mark Carlson, who had a better view at first base.
So with Jerry Davis behind the plate, the crew chief, here's Ike Davis at the plate. Ike is 0 for 2 today. Nothing in 1 on Davis. Jerry Davis, the crew chief. Mark Carlson at first. Mike Malinsky at second. Brian Knight is the third base umpire. The 0-1 from Stammen. Now 1-1. Tim, earlier today, funeral services held in Plano, Texas for our longtime colleague. For you, Tim, at CBS, and for both of us at Fox Sports. One of the great broadcasters in history and a true gentleman, Pat Summerall.
Revered in every way. Marvelous storyteller, marvelous sense of humor. How can you be any better than John Madden and Pat Summerall on the air?
And he became a broadcaster by accident. His roommate was his teammate with the New York Giants, Charlie Connolly, and a broadcasting executive called looking for Charlie. Heard Pat's voice. The rest is history.
That's a story only Pat could tell that well, Kenny.
Not as well as I told it.
Yeah, that's great.
Pat
what a voice.
Yeah, Pat would tell it a lot better than anything you and I could do up here in the booth.
What a voice.
And Pat was also a minor league baseball player.
Yep.
For the St. Louis Cardinals organization. As Ike Davis strikes out. He played for the Class C Cardinals affiliate in the Sooner State League in Lawton, Oklahoma. Two of his teammates were Roy and Ray Mantle, brothers of Mickey.
Older brothers. And obviously it was his bonding with Mickey that became perhaps his closest friendship. Mickey Mantle and Pat Summerall.
Two outs, Marlon Byrd takes ball one. And we are told that John Madden's tribute to Pat Summerall at the services earlier today were just unbelievable.
I bet.
On 1 to Bird. He fouls it off. Now 1-2. Two balls, two strikes. Stamen has struck out both Buck and Davis here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Yeah, Washington entered this game with 9 wins, 2 by the bullpen. Stamen has both of them.
Nationals at 9-7. Another foul off the bat of Marlon Byrd. Nationals have already played 6 games against the Miami Marlins. They're 5-1 against Miami, 4-6 against everybody else. The 2-2 from Stamen. Yet another foul. Down the left field line. Nationals led 3-0. Mets scored 5 at the bottom of the 4th inning. And then Adam LaRoche with a 3-run shot at the top of the 5th. As Bird stays alive.
That's really a rarity for a right-handed pitcher to stay inside to a right-handed hitter. But the Nationals continue to go back inside to Marlon Byrd.
He's fouled off 3 in a row. 9th pitch of the at-bat from Stamen.
Back in there, trying to wear him out inside. Now away.
Pitch number 10 on the ground to the shortstop, Desmond. A 1-2-3 inning for Stamen. Pat Summerall's less is more approach allowed our imaginations to fill in the blanks. He was the voice that defined the NFL on television for generations of fans, as well as golf and tennis. We remember the life of our friend, Pat Summerall. Ball, top of the 6th inning here at Citi Field as Chad Tracy leads off against Brandon Lyon, third Mets pitcher today. Tracy walked his last time up and then was caught attempting to steal second. Nationals with 3 home runs, accounting for all 6 of their runs. Desmond in the 2nd, Harper a 2-run shot of the 3rd, LaRoche a 3-run homer in the 5th. Fastball catching the outside corner, now 0-2. A 1-2 from Lyon, and Tracy is down on strikes. Today's game is sponsored by Avis. It's your space. And by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. It is Bark in the Park Day. The first 500 dogs attending today's game will receive a Mets dog bandana. Actually, Tim, I think it's $4.99 because you have one of the bandanas up here.
I actually have 2 of them, and I would think the 501st dog would be able to get a banner also. Bark in the Park Day, Dog Day afternoon here at Shea.
And those dogs.
That was a Freudian slip. Shea? How did I get that?
You got it right past me. You were thinking about Dickie Schofield's at bat in 1964.
Right. That's right. In the All-Star game in 1964, won by Johnny Callison. And are we trying to ever recover from that little glitch? Jay?
As long as you don't
force a habit.
As long as you don't say it on July 16th during the All-Star game here at Citi Field.
Well, I think it would be permissible then, too.
Ground ball to the shortstop, Turner.
We're very forgiving on this telecast.
You only worked thousands of games at Shea Stadium.
16 years of my life at Shea, yep. And I'll tell you, we talked about it earlier, and there was nobody more proud of that team than Davy Johnson. Because we've said it many times, the Mets own this town. During those tumultuous 80s, tumultuous for those Mets of those years who walked with a certain swagger. Keith Hernandez, Darryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden, Ray Knight.
And some of Davy's comments about his 2013 Nationals prior to this season, such as anything less than the World Series is a failure, similar to his thoughts prior to the 1986 season with the Mets.
That's true. A team that won 108 games and then 4 from the Houston Astros. That famous Game 6. And then after being down to the Red Sox and actually having the sign go up on the scoreboard, congratulations to the world champion Boston Red Sox. And the Mets remarkably came back to win that game, the ball rolling through Bill Buckner's legs. What an unbelievable baseball season that was, particularly in New York City.
They were rained out the next day, and then the Mets won the World Series on a Monday night, October 27th, 1986.
After trailing Bruce Hurst in the Red Sox in Game 7.
Current Mets pitcher Jonathan East was born that day. The day the Mets won the 86 series.
Good going.
Two and two on Suzuki, who bounced back to Hefner twice. Ron Darling, key member of that 86 Mets championship squad. His
Bet he was.
bobblehead dolls will be distributed tomorrow here at Citi Field.
Ronnie, of course, now an announcer with Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez on Mets television.
Right center. And the catch is made by the right fielder Bird, as Calgill was on the approach as well. Middle of the 6th as Colin ducks out of the way. 6-5 Nationals.
Break, Yankees and Jays, top of the 11th, and here's how the Yankees score what would be the go-ahead game-winning run. Ichiro Suzuki looking to sacrifice. Aaron Luke throws it away. Yankees stay 2 back of Boston, who saw an emotional ending to an emotional day. Andrew Bailey hangs on, stranding the go-ahead runs in the bottom of the ninth to record his 3rd save. Daniel Nava's 3-run 8th-inning home run the difference. The Red Sox win their first game back at Fenway since the tragic events that took place earlier in the week. Back to Flushing and Kenny and Tim.
Thanks very much, Matt. 7 straight for the Red Sox, as the family of baseball sends heartfelt sympathies to everyone affected by this week's tragic events. Support onefundboston.org as they help those affected by the tragedy in Boston. Lucas Duda leads off for the Mets against Craig Stammen here in the bottom of the 6th inning, with the Nationals leading 6-5. Duda part of the 5-run Mets rally back in the 4th. He walked, came around to score. One of 3 walks in that inning issued by the Nationals starter Gio Gonzalez, who lasted only 4 innings. A 1-2 from Stammen, fouled off to the left side. Davey Johnson in his 52nd season in professional baseball, and he says this will be it in the dugout. His final season, Davey and the Nationals with high expectations as Duda strikes out. 3rd strikeout for Craig Stammen, as we take you back to Davey as Mets manager, Darryl Strawberry, National League Rookie of the Year, then Bryce Harper last season. How about Doc Gooden? He was here last night watching Steven Strasburg. Some slick fielding first baseman, Hernandez and LaRoche. Then and now.
Yeah, we've talked about, of course, that's the same Davey Johnson, but the 2 first basemen, with Adam LaRoche winning his first Gold Glove last year. Keith Hernandez with 11, the best fielding first baseman, in my opinion, ever to play the game, and that's pretty high praise.
Colin Cowgill singled in 2 runs his last time up. Mike Baxter has come out into the on-deck circle for the Mets with the pitcher spot 2 up. One out, bottom of the 6th inning, with the Nationals leading 6-5. Josh Edgin up and throwing in the Mets pen. The 2-2 to Cowgill, called strike 3. So Stammen has faced 5 batters and he struck out 4 of them. Well, Davey Johnson, as we mentioned, 52 years in professional baseball, along with Hank Aaron and Darrell Evans, first trio to each hit 40 home runs in a season. They did it for the 73 Braves. He recorded the last hit off Sandy Koufax. First player to hit 2 pinch hit grand slams in the same season. And he also flied out for the Orioles to end the '69 World Series against the Mets. What a career.
What a career is right. That last hit against Sandy Koufax in '66, that was the year that Baltimore swept the Los Angeles Dodgers. And Sandy Koufax called it a career, and what a career it was, and what a career Davey Johnson has had.
We mentioned Baxter had come out on deck, and then Terry Collins decides to go with Kirk Nieuwenhuis. So Nieuwenhuis pinch hitting for Lyon. 2 for 4 as a pinch hitter this season, batting just 133 overall. He was not fazed by the weather earlier this week. He grew up in Denver. Great high school football player. And a third-round draft pick of the Mets in 2008. Two outs, nobody on, bottom of the 6th inning. Nationals scoring all 6 of their runs via the long ball. Mets scoring all 5 of their runs in the 4th inning, all with 2 outs. There's Adam LaRoche. He hit a 3-run shot to put Washington back on top. Now the 2-2 from Stamen. Full count.
I think if the Nationals get to the postseason, and I think they will, I mean, that's not a stretch. What makes them so dangerous is their bullpen. Last year's World Series showing how important the bullpen is when you could put Tim Lincecum, a starter for the Giants, in the bullpen, and he performed that well against the Detroit Tigers. The Giants swept the Tigers.
Stamen strikes out the side in the 6th. A look across the Brooklyn Bridge. We'll return after these messages from your local Fox station.
Fox UFC Saturday card later tonight. It's headlined by a champion versus champion main event as Benson Henderson puts his title on the line and welcomes Gilbert Melendez to
presented by Chevrolet. As we move to the 7th from Citi Field, 6 runs on 6 hits for the Nationals, 5 runs on 5 hits for the New York Mets. New pitcher for the Mets, making his 9th appearance of the season, the 26-year-old left-hander Josh Edgin out of Ohio State University, and he will face a pinch hitter, Tyler Moore, batting for Craig Stamen, who was perfect in 2 innings. He struck out 5.
Very impressive with Stamen.
Moore batting 167, 0 for 6 as a pinch hitter. 3 hits and 18 at bats overall. Ryan Matthews up in the Nationals pen. Both starters lasted only 4 innings. Jeremy Hefner for the Mets. Gio Gonzalez for the Nats. 1-1 from Edgin. Fouled back to the screen, now 1-2.
Had a look at that lofty earned run average over 9, and that is the thing that Terry Collins was telling us he was trying to ignore because of those games in Denver, drive those ERAs up, and they're really not indicative of what kind of job his bullpen can do.
That's right. Terry Collins told us erase what happened in Colorado.
Eliminate that.
Two scoreless innings from the Mets pen last night. Scott Rice and Bobby Parnell. Moore strikes out. Heading down to first. Here's the throw from Buck. And it is just in time to get Moore.
Yeah, and Tyler Moore did not realize that the ball got by John Buck. Had he run right away, he would have been safe at first base. But watch the delay. The swing, the miss. Now he doesn't realize the ball got by him, and by the time he realized it, went to first. Too late. Good play by Buck to recover.
So with one away, here is Denard Span, who is 0 for 3.
Kenny, we were talking about Terry Collins of the Mets. How in the world can he not be signed to an extension before this season started? There are 9 managers on the last year of their contract in the major leagues of the 30 teams. And in my view, this man right here deserves an extension more than any of the other 8. With the job he's done with the Mets, with minimal, and I mean minimal opportunity to run good players out there. Good starts the year before last year. Not so much this year. It's too early to tell yet. But he has done a terrific job, and to me, the Mets should have given him the extension before the season started. But not so.
You're right. Good starts the last 2 years, and then the Mets finished 77 and 85 his first year, 74 and 88 last season. They seem to be over the hump as far as the off the field issues, heading in the right direction.
Right. Good point.
They trailed today 6-5. 1 out, top of the 7th inning. A 1-2 from Edgin to Span. Ball 2.
I'm surprised it's not brought up more that sometimes managers serve as coaches, not managers, but coaches to train players for the next manager that takes over. It happens so often. I mean, you look at the Washington Nationals, a guy like Jim Riggleman, who was disposed, I guess, 3 years ago or so, or quit in the middle of the season. I mean, is as much responsible for the success of this franchise, the Nationals, as anyone. And that might be the plight and fate of Terry Collins if the Mets don't bring him back next year.
It is the nature of the business. The shelf life of managers and coaches in all sports, not very long.
But it seems like baseball more than football. Seems like managers become coaches and help young players and things like that. A guy like Matt Harvey, you know, who's so young now and such a promising future. But what Terry Collins is doing with him right now, very instrumental in the future of a guy who could become the face of the franchise in a hurry.
Ball strike 3. Span now 0 for 4. Time for another game break. Matt Vasgersian at the MLB Network. Matt.
Kenny, Marlins and Reds, bottom of the 13th with 1 out. Miami walked Joey Votto to put runners at the corners for Brandon Phillips, who on his bobblehead day hits a game-winning sac fly for his major league leading 20th RBI of the season, and pretty good chance he'll be tweeting about it. Kenny and Tim, back to you guys.
Oh, I'm sure he will be back. So 20 runs batted in for Brandon Phillips, tying Brandon with John Buck and Chris Davis. doing it on his bobblehead day. Big bobblehead weekend. Brandon Phillips in Cincinnati. Ron Darling here tomorrow.
Bet, baby.
Jason Worth doubled in the third, walked and scored in the fifth inning. You know, one more point on Terry Collins and Matt Harvey. You mentioned their relationship as we say hello once again to Mr. Met. Terry was telling us that during spring training, he would show up at 4:30 in the morning to work out. And soon thereafter, Matt Harvey would come in to start riding the bike. So you talk about the work ethic of the 24-year-old Matt Harvey, and Terry Collins witnessed it throughout spring training. He said he could have done his work at any time during the day and elected to come in around 6:30 in the morning. Guess Terry didn't get much sleep down in Port St. Lucie. Now 2-2 on Worth. Bryce Harper looming. He's reached base all 3 times today. A walk, a 2-run home run, and a double. 2-2 from Edgin, long foul. You know, we mentioned Jason Worth's stepfather, Dennis Worth. He was a Yankee back in 1981. Also on that same Yankee team, Ike Davis's dad, Ron, and Adam LaRoche's father, Dave. So 3 of the players in this game had fathers, or in the case of Jason Worth, his stepfather,
on the same
all
team.
Played together with the 81 Yankees.
Yeah.
Ron Davis, there's Ike, terrific in the Yankee bullpen along with Goose Gossage. Adam LaRoche's father, Dave, a member of that Yankee pitching staff as well. Ground ball to the left side. Here's Wright crossing in front of Turner. Worth is retired, so a 1-2-3 7th for Josh Edgin on Park. In the Park Day, I wonder if the Dogs will stand for the 7th inning stretch.
No.
Presented by Chevrolet is sponsored by ADT Security Systems, always there. And by Scotts, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. Well, Well, starting Monday on the National Geographic Channel is a new series called Brain Games that will truly put your brain to the test. It's a roller coaster for your mind filled with challenges and games that will boggle and amaze you. Brain Games premiering this Monday on the National Geographic Channel. Third pitcher for the Nationals today. There he is, the 29-year-old right-hander Ryan Matthews, after Craig Stammen did a tremendous job. He faced 6 batters, retired the ball, and struck out 5.
Yeah, no brain games for Davey Johnson today. All you have to do is pick any one out there in the bullpen, and they'll do a good job. Terrific, strong bullpen for the Nationals. I think it's the best bullpen in baseball. With only one left-hander, Zach Duke.
So Matthews facing Justin Turner, who drove in 2 runs his last time up. Backhanded by the shortstop Desmond, and he fires across to retire Turner 1 away. Speaking of Davey Johnson and pitching, how much fun was it for us to reminisce with Davey earlier today about Doc Gooden? He hadn't seen him in about 10 years. Doc at the game last night.
Yep.
They gave each other a big hug, and then Davey told us about the time when he was a Mets roving instructor visiting 17-year-old Doc Gooden in Kingsport, Tennessee.
We talked about it also. The next year, he struck out 300 in 190 innings. 300 in 190 innings in Lynchburg, Virginia. And the next year, he was in the big leagues as a 19-year-old. Doc helping inner city kids in New Jersey now, and Davey very proud of the fact that Doc's life has taken that turn.
Davey telling us he had to convince Mets management, general manager Frank Cashin, to include Doc on the major league roster and not spend more time in the minor leagues. As we take you back to the 1984 All-Star game at Candlestick. Lance Harris, Jet Lemon.
Unfair.
And then unfair to Albert Davis in succession in the 5th inning.
As a 19-year-old, the youngest to this day to perform in an All-Star game. And, of course, this year's All-Star game, July 16th here at Citi Field. And it should be an extravaganza right here on Fox.
Davey reminding us the Mets were cautious because they had brought up a young pitcher named Tim Leary,
who was supposed to be the next Tom Seaver.
And he made his debut in Chicago on a cold, windy day. And Davey said, I was smart. I started Doc Gooden in his debut in Houston in a controlled environment.
He went 5 innings and won his first start. You know, why is baseball so unfair in that regard? He's the Darryl Strawberry was supposed to be the next Willie Mays. I got news for you. Nobody's going to be Willie Mays. The next Tom Seaver. What?
Here's the next Seaver.
Yeah. It's just so unfair to everybody, but particularly Tom Seaver, who's already done it. And what he did was remarkable.
On the ground to the left side, charging is Desmond. And Murphy is safe at first.
What a great play by Desmond. Daniel Murphy smelling a hit. And his olfactory sense was right on the money. Good call by first base umpire Mark Carlson. And Desmond did all he could. The ball stayed down on him, and Murphy just beat it at first.
So a one-out base runner for the Mets with David Wright stepping to the plate. Tim, you just mentioned Willie Mays a moment ago, and We send our condolences along to the Mays family following the passing of his wife of 41 years yesterday. May Louise Allen Mays passing away at the age of 74. Tyler Clippard up in the Nationals pen. Nationals leading 6-5, bottom of the 7th inning. David Wright tripled back of the 4th, was caught in a rundown. Mets would then go on and score 5 runs in the inning, all with 2 outs.
David trying to put the Mets ahead with that swing, that pitch, an inside fastball. I think David Wright has made the adjustment with 2 strikes. Better than any right-handed hitter in the National League since he's come into the National League. He is a different hitter with 2 strikes, as he showed when he tripled to right field. The first ball hit out of the infield by the Mets. That was a 2-strike, actually a full count triple to right field. David, a very smart hitter, and always has been.
2-1 from Matthews, right field. Worth moving to his left, makes the catch for out number 2. So with 2 away, here's John Buck. 0 for 2 with a walk today. He scored a run. 6 home runs through the first 15 games. He actually hit all 6 over the first 10 games. Last season, Mets catchers hit only 5 home runs the entire season. 6 in 2011, a total already matched by John Buck. But he has gone the last 5 games without a home run. He's driven in 20 runs. It is still only April 20th. Met record for runs batted in 1 month. Jeff Kent drove in 26 in 1 month back in '94. So John Buck 6 away from matching that total. Murphy takes his lead off first as Matthews misses inside. Ball 1 to Buck. Ike Davis went deep twice last night, waiting on deck should Buck reach.
Go ahead, Kenny.
Excuse me, Tim. I was about to mention Buck coming over from Toronto in the R.A. Dickey deal. There's National starter Gio Gonzalez, along with a tremendous catching prospect, Travis d'Arnaud, who suffered a foot injury earlier this week playing for the Mets AAA affiliate in Las Vegas.
Broken left foot.
d'Arnaud traveled to New York as Buck shoots this one into left, and it will roll to the wall for extra bases. Here comes Murphy. No throw to the plate as it was bobbled by Desmond. And the Mets tie the game at 6 as John Buck drives in his 21st run of the season.
Take chances with 2 out. In a 1-run ball game, that's what Tim Teufel, the third base coach, did. Excellent play. Your third base coach is like your 10th offensive player out there. When your team takes the field, this fastball inside, Buck gets around on it. And had the relay been made successfully, then there would have been a shot at Daniel Murphy at home. But Desmond can't make the turn. He's got a very strong arm. Murphy will score. Keep an eye on Tim Teufel, the third base coach. Keep going, Daniel, and the Mets tie it.
Another 2-out run for the Mets. All 6 of their runs today have come with 2 outs, and that will be all for Ryan Matthews.
Very upset, getting pats on the back, pats on the back, pats on the back. They're not good enough. Yet another cooler.
Matthews allowing the 2-out double to Buck, driving in the tying run.
I think Ryan is probably more upset at that call, perhaps, that the Nationals did not get at first base. Perhaps that Daniel Murphy may have been out, but as our replay showed, he was safe and scored the tying run.
So here's Ike Davis facing Tyler Clippard, the 4th Nationals pitcher in the game. Davis 0 for 3 today with 2 strikeouts. Mets have scored all 6 of their runs with 2 outs. 5 of the 4th, 1 here in the 7th. Buck takes his lead off second. Davis behind, 0-2.
How many times with a power hitter like Ike Davis up there does a right-hander come in a game, first base open, and the right-hander goes right after you? Sometimes that's an indication of how well you're going or how poorly you're going. Ike entering the game batting .173. The fact that they don't put him on right here is an indication of how poorly he's done over the first 15 games for the Mets.
And Davis strikes out for the 3rd time today. But the Mets tie the game at 6. We head to the 8th. Chevrolet. From Citi Field, Kenny Albert, Tim McCarver. Mets and Nationals tied at 6 as Bryce Harper leads off here in the top of the 8th inning against Josh Edgin. And Harper swings at the first pitch, deep right field. No doubt about it. His 2nd of the game. Nationals back on top.
years old, he is not nearly as strong as he will be in 5 years. Remember what we told you about Davy Johnson telling us, quick to the ball. Boy, those were lightning hands after that edging fastball. Second home run of the game. Bang. The Nats back in front. Hit it a ton to right center.
For Bryce Harper, his 4th career 2-home run game. His 2nd this season.
First one was the opening day, his first 2 at-bats of the season.
April 1st against the Marlins as LaRoche strikes out, 1 away.
Born to play the game. And can he ever play it? First at bat, changeup from Hefner, 2-run homer. Then a double off the left-hander. Home run off the left-hander. He'll be doing a lot of that in his career. High-fiving.
Bryce Harper with 3 runs batted in. That ties his career high. Scott Atchison coming in from the Mets pen. Fifth pitcher for the Mets today is 37-year-old right-hander Scott Atchison, his 8th appearance, facing Ian Desmond, who has one of the 4 Washington home runs. A solo shot back in the 2nd inning. Nationals now lead 7-6. Here's Bryce Harper, who has hit 2. He's driven in 3 runs. 4th career 2-home run game. The Nationals team do not have a single today. All 7 of their hits have gone for extra bases, 3 doubles and 4 home runs.
A lot of sliders from Scott Atchison, who did such a great job for the Boston Red Sox last year and the year before that.
Nice play by Ike Davis.
Good play.
2 away. Well, this week, Arizona Diamondbacks Heath Bell and Matt Reynolds and Chris Davis and Darren O'Day of the Orioles visited the MLB Fan Cave. Check out All the latest Cave happenings at MLBFanCave.com. Follow MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like it on Facebook. Chris Davis, 20 runs batted in. John Buck with his 21st earlier today. Here's Chad Tracy, who struck out his last time up. 2 outs, top of the 8th inning. All 7 Washington runs have come via the home run. Harper with 2, Desmond and LaRoche.
And all of the Mets runs have come with 2 out. So an odd offensive day for both teams.
Mets scored 7 last night. Held the Nationals to 1. 7-6 here in the 8th. Steven Strasburg started the game for Washington last night. Suffered his 3rd loss. Matt Harvey his 4th win for the Mets as Chad Tracy heads down to first, a 2-out walk.
Later on this year, Bryce Harper may be the youngest player to be pitched around consistently if he continues this streak. I mean, he is so lightning fast with those hands. This is the first time, I told you during the pitching change, first time I'd seen him play. And you same thing for you, other than the All-Star game. But first regular season game that I've seen Bryce Harper play, and the same for you, huh? Pretty impressive, I'd say, in person, that is. His hitting, not his hair.
I think he was talking about his hair with Jason Worth. Off the glove of Davis, who attempted the diving stop and then recovers to throw out Espinosa as Harper and Worth watch from the Nationals dugout. One more look at the 3rd out of the inning, but Bryce Harper has given the Nationals a 7-6 lead. Today's game is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. And by the all-new 2014 Chevrolet Impala, which proudly supports the craft of baseball. Thanks to Bryce Harper, the Washington Nationals are back on top. His 2nd home run of the game in the top of the 8th inning. His updated season numbers: .371 average, 7 home runs, 14 driven in.
And that tie-breaking home run against a left-hander. Hands are so quick. Davey Johnson, an excellent hitter, in his own right, telling us how short to the ball he is. It's almost like a right-handed swing by a left-handed batter. Reason for that is left-handed hitters, almost all of them have loops in their swing. You think of Darryl Strawberry with that classic power swing with the loop. That's why he had such power the other way. Very few left-handed hitters, in my experience, go after a ball quite like Bryce Harper does. Normal speed, again, Bryce Harper. And he's going to get quicker.
He took Jeremy Hefner deep in the third inning, a 2-run shot, and then a solo home run to give the Nationals the lead off Josh Edgin in the 8th. As Marlon Byrd takes a called strike, now 1-2. Lucas Duda waiting on deck with the Mets trailing by a run. Mets scored 5 in the 4th. They sent 10 men to the plate. And then a run of the 7th. All 6 New York runs coming with 2 outs. Tyler Clippard, the 4th Nationals pitcher. Starter Gio Gonzalez lasted only 4 innings. Bird down on strikes, and now for a preview of tonight's UFC on Fox. We check in with Kurt Menefee.
Sunny San Jose, California, the site of our loaded Fox UFC Saturday card later tonight. It's headlined by a champion versus champion main event as Benson Henderson puts his title on the line and welcomes Gilbert Melendez to the UFC. It's Fox UFC Saturday tonight, 8 Eastern, only on Fox.
All right, thanks very much, Kurt. Hopefully Uriah Hall is enjoying his first Major League Baseball game. We chatted with the mixed martial arts star earlier.
Tough way to make a living, I'll tell you.
Sure is. Lucas Duda today, 0 for 2. Walk came around to score back in the 4th inning. Mets bullpen with Troy Hawkins, the veteran right-hander. Two 2-0 on Duda. Colin Cowgill waiting on deck. You know, Tim, Tyler Clippard on the mound for the Nationals now, the subject of one of the great tabloid headlines here in New York. When he first came up to pitch for the Yankees, and he had success. The back page headline after one of his early starts.
Not the Yankee Clippard.
You got it.
Oh, come on.
The Yankee Clippard. How'd you guess?
I was afraid you were going to say that.
You don't have it framed up on the wall?
Of course, the Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio. But Tyler Clippard was quite a Clippard for the Nationals last year. 32 saves. And you know, that's after going through 199 games over 5 years with the Yankees and the Nationals and picking up 1 save. So his first 199 games, he had 1 save, and last year he became the closer for the Nats.
Payoff pitch, ball 4. So Duda heads down to first. Colin Cowgill has been called back. Here comes Jordani Valdespin, the pinch hit for Cowgill.
Johnson also telling us about Clippard and about the rest of his right-handers in the bullpen that they're so adept at pitching changes or at hitting changes late in the game. His right-handed pitchers do not care whether it's a left-handed batter or a right-handed batter. They're effective against both. I guess you have to be if you're going to be an effective right-hander in the major leagues toward the end of a game.
And Terry Collins very aware of the career numbers. Valdespin has a home run in 5 at-bats against Clippard. While Colin Cowgill has never faced Tyler Clippard, who, by the way, in 2005 pitched for the Columbus Clippers, the Yankees' top affiliate at the time. Clippard of the Clippers. 7-6 Nationals. 1 out, bottom of the 8th inning. Clippard to Valdespin, fastball missing inside. Jordani Valdespin batting .314 this season, 1 for 5 as a pinch hitter. Mike Baxter waiting on deck with the pitcher spot due up next. Valdespin, 25 years of age, out of the Dominican Republic, 7th year in the Mets organization. One and one.
Good changeup, and that's what Davey Johnson was talking about. His right-handers neutralize left-handed hitters with the good changeup as far as Clippard is concerned.
Due to the runner on first with 1 out. The 1-1 to Valdespin. Pop foul. Just foul down the left field line.
It's interesting what that changeup of Clippard can do. Valdespin swinging at their first changeup. Totally fooled, and then the fastball gets him to swing like that. That was the changeup, and now the fastball, pitch that he would normally hammer, he just fouls weakly down the left field line.
The 1-2 from Clippard, pops it up, same spot in foul territory. The catch is made by Tracy for out number 2.
Think about that at bat now. You know, first pitch is a ball, second pitch the changeup for a strike way out in front, and then he's behind 2 fastballs that he would normally turn on. That's a fine job of pitching by Clippard.
So Valdespin back to the dugout now with 2 away. Another pinch hitter, the Queens native Mike Baxter, batting for Atchison. Duda takes his lead off first with 2 outs. Baxter, of course, remembered for the incredible catch he made last June to preserve the no-hitter, first in Mets history by Johan Santana, but he suffered injury to his collarbone and ribs while making that catch.
Ramming into the fence right around the 358 sign in left field.
Nothing in 2 on Baxter, with the Nationals leading the Mets 7-6. 2 outs, bottom of the 8th inning from Citi Field. The 0-2 from Clippard, now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Justin Turner on deck drove in 2 runs back in the 4th inning, when the Mets scored 5 with 2 outs off Gio Gonzalez. Fastball missing inside, now 2-2. Gonzalez lasted only 4 innings, allowed 5 runs on 5 hits, 4 walks, including 3 in that fateful 4th inning. He struck out 5. Nationals would then score 3 in the top of the 5th to regain the lead. It is now 7-6 Washington. Full count. Duda goes, payoff pitch, and Baxter slices it foul into the stands back behind third.
Big break for the Mets to have a 3-2 count to allow Duda to take off from first base on the 3-2 count. Not a fast runner. This way he may be able to score on a double.
There goes Duda. And Baxter lines out to the right fielder Worth. It did not look pretty, but Worth makes the play. So we head to the 9th here at Citi Field. Nationals lead by a run. Nationals 6 runs on 7 hits for the Mets. As we head to the 9th here at Citi Field, Jordany Valdespin remains in the game in center field after pinch hitting for Colin Cowgill. And 40-year-old right-hander LaTroy Hawkins, now in his 19th Major League season, the 6th Mets pitcher today. Among active pitchers, only Mariano Rivera has pitched in more games than LaTroy Hawkins, facing Kurt Suzuki leading off for Washington here in the 9th.
19th season and 10th different team. What a career he has had. LaTroy with that electric arm, still with a good fastball at age 40.
13 teams for Octavio Dotel.
Dotel, of course, with Detroit, and you and I will be in Detroit next week. Atlanta Braves go to Detroit, gosh, for the first time in ages, if not the first time at Comerica Park.
Braves with the best record in baseball.
Yeah. Justin Upton with 9 home runs.
So you and I will be in Detroit. Mets host the Phillies. It will be the Nationals and the Reds. Special 12:30 start time with the pregame. First pitch just after 1. Roger Bernardina has come out into the on-deck circle with the pitcher Clippard due up next. Here's Hawkins off the mound to his right, throws out Suzuki for out number 1.
Washington Nationals know how tough the Atlanta Braves are. The Braves swept them last weekend in Washington. 9 home runs for Justin Upton. Best start for the Braves since 1997. Pat Mahallam, how about that? 20 1/3 innings. Paul Mahallam, I beg your pardon. 20 1/3 innings with no earned runs scored against him this year. A great bullpen down there. We talked about the Nationals bullpen. Rafael Soriano now warming for the Nets.
Bernardina pops it up. Foul territory by Davis, 2 out.
At Wynn playing tricks on Ike Davis, ended up having to backhand it. Made a good play out of a routine play.
So with 2 away, here's Denard Span. Fox Sports sends our sympathies to everyone affected by this week's tragedies, both in Boston and West Texas. Please support onefundboston.org for those affected in Boston. We heard Neil Diamond, his rendition of Sweet Caroline, earlier today at Fenway, where the Red Sox won their 7th straight game. Span pops out to right. Here comes Soriano. Mets with the top of the order due up in the bottom of the 9th. Turner, Murphy, and Wright. game brought to you by Burger King, where taste is king. Bryce Harper with a 2-run shot in the 3rd, and then a solo home run in the 8th inning, which gave the Nationals a 7-6 lead, his 4th career 2-home run game, and he has tied his career high with 3 runs batted in. He's yawning right now. Can't wait to get back into the clubhouse as we head to the bottom of the 9th.
He's anything but bored, I'll tell you, with the day he's had.
His teammate Rafael Soriano will try and close out the New York Mets. Pitched across town, 42 saves for the Yankees in Rivera's absence last season. Signed a huge 2-year contract with Washington. And will face the top of the Mets order: Turner, Murphy, and Wright. Justin Turner, 1 for 4, came up with the bases loaded in the 4th and singled in a pair of runs. He has never faced Soriano. First pitch fouled off to the right side. Great job by our entire crew today, led by producer Pete Majeska, director Bill Webb, associate director Brian Peterman, broadcast associate Jordan Harrison, Wade Fiddleman and Ben Bowman crunching the numbers. The executive producers of the pregame show are Don Bowie and Mike Santini, producer Ethan Kleinberg, and the director Mark Deaver. The 0-1 to Turner. He did not go around, says Mark Carlson. Now 1-1.
How can Wayne Fiddleman turn 50 this week and we not even know it? What's going on here? Our stat guy in the truck, who does such a remarkable job year in, year out, week in, week out, month in, month out. And that's enough, Wayne.
Doesn't look a day over 40.
No, he doesn't. Doesn't look a day over 49.
So happy birthday to Wayne Fiddleman.
Yeah.
Two and one now on Turner, with Daniel Murphy waiting on deck. Nationals lead the Mets 7-6. Soriano missing high, 3-1.
Chance for the Mets. Not taking here, but you want that ball to be exactly where you want it. You have that luxury because you're ahead in the count. If it's not, even if it's a strike, take it. Bad pitch to swing on a 3-1, 2-0 count. Too high. It's down about a foot, then you say okay, but not that high. That could have been ball 4, by the way. Even asking home plate umpire Jerry Davis if it was a strike.
Payoff pitch from Soriano. Right field, Worth, 1 away. Here's Daniel Murphy, who has singled in each of his last 2 at-bats, drove in a run back in the 4th inning. Nationals have scored all 7 of their runs via the long ball. Mets have scored all 6 of their runs with 2 outs. And the Nationals have no singles today, only extra base hits. Nationals have hit 4 home runs. Harper with a pair, Desmond and LaRoche. Daniel Murphy 1 for 6 lifetime against Rafael Soriano.
One thing Daniel Murphy can do is he can hit the ball with authority down the 3rd baseline. And for that reason, Chad Tracy is inching toward the line for the Nationals. That's a good play defensively for the Nats.
You saw Bobby Parnell up in the Mets pen as Soriano misses low and inside, 2-1. $25 or more saves with 3 different teams. Nationals hope he makes it 4 teams this year.
3-1 count again. A little more experienced hitter in Daniel Murphy than Justin Turner. Murphy with good power on the ball down and in. Most left-handers have that anyway. They're going to keep it away if they can.
Grounded to the right side. Taken to the bag by LaRoche. And the Mets are now down to their final out. David Wright, 1 for 3 today. Tripled back in the 4th inning. 1 for 7 lifetime against Soriano. Soriano looking for save number 6.
Good fastball from Soriano. Soriano has been behind all 3 Met hitters here in the ninth.
The 1-1 to the Mets captain. Mets now down to their final strike. John Buck on deck should right reach. Mets won last night's game 7-1. Nationals with a 7-6 lead. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th inning.
Remember David Wright, a different hitter with 2 strikes, more inclined to go to right field with 2 strikes on him.
Soriano missing away. The count is full.
3rd straight 3-ball count in this inning. Highly unusual for Soriano.
Payoff pitch to Wright, missing away, ball 4. So David Wright heads down to first. And Soriano will now face John Buck, who drove in his league-leading 21st run of the season back in the 7th inning.
Well, Soriano slow to the plate. David Wright, a very good base runner who would perhaps take advantage of that. 4 stolen bases. He has not been caught.
Buck, a run-scoring double in the 7th. On the first pitch, ground ball to the shortstop, Desmond. The flip to Espinosa, and that will do it. Bryce Harper with a pair of home runs, including the game winner in the top of the 8th. Out of LaRoche, a 3-run shot. Nationals win at 7-6. For Tim McCarver, Kenny Albert saying so long now to Matt and Kevin in the MLB Network studios.